Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest. I hope everybody has had a good week thus far. Hi Michael, hi Sammy, hi Turk. Nice to see you in class. Hi Bisser. Bisser is in the IELTS exam process right now, so everybody cross your fingers for Bisser. Bisser, I saw that comment that you have your speaking interview coming up in about 20 minutes, so good luck with that. Hi Samuel, welcome everyone. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the join button beside the subscribe button. There are 4 different levels of membership. Choose the one that is right for you. If you have any questions, you can always ask me as well. In this class, we are looking at the reading section, and it's academic reading. But of course, academic reading is also very useful for general reading because section 3 of the general exam is very, very similar to the academic reading sections and passages. Exciting today for those students who have our products. Today's reading passage is brand new. It's coming from our 4 new exams that are in development. So later this year, we're adding 4 more new exams to our websites and our products, a whole new book, if you will. And you can, of course, get those on our website. So this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. I highly recommend joining the other thousands of students who use our website and our app every day to improve their band scores. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com, where you will find general IELTS materials. And on both of those websites, we are going to add 4 more new exams. And today we'll have a sneak peek at one of the reading passages for our new exams. I'll quickly show you what the websites look like. This is the academic one here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join, get over 100 hours of video lessons, practice exams, interactive course, writing, speaking help, free speaking with other students. This is the general IELTS website here. Again, you can click that big red button to join, and the green button if you'd like to try it. We're British Council test registration partners, so we've got a lot of great tools for you. If you have questions, students, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I will gladly answer your question about the exam or our products. Again, right now we are doing reading, and then we will have a task to writing for everybody, where everybody can join the chat and comment. That's coming up in 90 minutes. But for right now, let's get into this new reading passage. Here we go. So the reading section is not really changing too much from the past couple of years. You might not see as many multiple choice questions in the reading as in the past. We've noticed that. So a little bit less on those potentially, but there's no guarantees because they are always changing, okay? So here is the reading passage. First question is list of headings, and yes, list of headings are definitely staying around, so be ready for these list of headings type questions, okay? Now, the first step when you get to your reading section is always to look at the title. So even if you see this list of headings, don't read it right away, okay? Before you read the list of headings, read the title, okay? Read the title of the passage. So let's look at that. Ooh, here it is, the title of this brand new passage. Currency substitution. What is that? All right, and then we see a banknote here, and it says the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, and you see a 1 with a whole lot of zeros after it, and it even says $100 trillion. Are you kidding me? No, absolutely not. That is a real banknote, people. So currency substitution. So your step number one, always read the title. Never skip the title, and then think critically about it. So what does that mean? So what is currency substitution? Can anybody paraphrase that for me or tell me what that means? Of course, you should work hard to understand the title of the passage. If you don't understand the title, it's not the end of the world, but don't rush through it. So give it a moment to think about what it is, okay? So here, the title is Currency Substitution. Okay, so first you want to ask, what is that? What is it? Okay. And Michael Fan says it's alternative money. Sammy says it's changing of currency. Yeah, exactly. So alternative money. Or changing currency. Yeah, for those of you who are football fans, the word substitution, of course, is when you change one player for another. Okay, so in basketball or football, when you blow the whistle and then they stop the game and then you change one of your players for another, maybe an injured player, you're substituting players, right? So you change one of your midfielders for another midfielder. So that's substitution. And of course, currency is a synonym of money. Okay? So the money that is used. Okay, that's currency. All right, so alternative money or changing currency. What would that be? Can you give me an example? So we'll jump the why for a moment and we'll go right to the how. So can you give me an example? When you think of the how, try to think of an example. This will really help you to understand the passage that you're about to read much better. So what would be an example of currency substitution? So if you're imagining this, right? Think about the football player, substituting one football player for another. What would that mean? Okay, Sammy says substitution also means replacement. Absolutely. So, bank note. Replacement. Sure, let's say that. Okay, so what would be an example of that? So Nazir says gold or silver. Yeah, I think Nazir, you're thinking about the fiat system that kind of ended in the 1960s. Keep it a little bit simpler than that. Okay, Turk says maybe like Bitcoin. Very good, Abhishek. So that's the simple example. So Abhishek says like changing the pound to the dollar. Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen. The world would be in a big problem. But changing, for example, changing British pound to the American dollar. Be a specific, students, when you say dollar, because the dollar, there are many kinds, right? So there's Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. There's a lot of different dollars out there, so be specific. So let's say changing the British pound to the American dollar. Okay, sure. That would be substitution. Or another one would be like changing Indian rupee to Chinese yuan, let's say. Okay. So that kind of change, or Canadian dollar to American dollar. I hope nobody's taking offense to this or taking it to heart. It's just an example, right, of currency substitution. All right. So why would you do that? Why would you substitute your money? Why would you do that? Okay, going through these what, why, how questions with the title of the passage before you begin reading is a really useful step to answer questions quickly and get more of your answers correct. Okay, so why would a country do that? Okay, so Charlie says maybe for trade purposes. You don't need to have the perfect answer, but try to come up with a few different ones. So Michael Fan says unified currency system, maybe? Okay. Trade purpose, says Charlie. Okay, don't forget the picture, students. So when you have a picture with your reading passage, look at it carefully because oftentimes there's a lot of information in the picture, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words, as the saying goes. So here you see $100 trillion. So why would there maybe be a currency substitution in the case of Zimbabwe? Yeah, very good, Turk. Cuba actually is a good example if anybody knows the history of the Cuban currency. To gain more value for money. Yeah, to gain more purchasing power. That's a pretty good tip, right? To increase the value of currency, both locally and internationally, right? If somebody wanted to trade 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars for your 100 American dollars, would you do it? Probably not, right? So it's obviously an economic move. Okay, so now we're on the right track, students. So this is what we want to do, okay? So step one, read the title, think, what is it? Why is it? How is it? And you're going to do much better on the reading. Okay, now we go back. So after you read the title, your second step is to take a look at the questions. Okay, so here we have our list of headings questions, which means that we're going to have to figure out what the paragraphs are about. Not why, not the example, but what. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of list of headings strategy. We've talked about this in the last few reading classes. So list of headings. Okay. Always read these before the passage. You must select what each paragraph is about. Not why, and not the examples, okay? Don't choose details, otherwise you'll get marked wrong, all right? Now, as number one, you want to paraphrase each choice of heading as you will likely not see the same words. Searching for keywords will not work for most answers, correct answers. Okay, so for those students who think, oh, I'll just look at like a keyword like dollarization and I'll just skim and scan for that, it's not going to work because you might see the word dollarization in 5 different paragraphs. In fact, you see it in several places. Okay, so don't just pick out a keyword and search for it. You're going to waste a lot of time and probably get a lot of bad marks. Okay, so don't do that. If you're lucky, you might get 1 or 2 with that method, but that's not enough. You need to get more. Okay. Also, keep in mind that list of headings, when you get them correct, they will help you to answer other questions also. Okay. So Sammy's saying, yeah, read and try to paraphrase. Okay. So limitations of dollarization. How can you say that in another way, students? What would be another way? Okay, dollarization, you might be able to figure this out, that it means to make into the dollar. Okay, when you see this ization, it means make into. Okay, that kind of means make into something, that suffix. And then limitations, right? Could be restrictions, or it could be drawbacks, negatives, if you want to just keep it simple. Okay, so here I would guess negatives of making money into the dollar. something like this. Sammy says boundaries to make it the dollar. Yeah, very good, Sammy. So in your mind, okay, at home, write it down just like this. So write it onto your paper while you're practicing. But in the exam, you just do this as quickly as possible in your head. Don't get stuck up on each of these choices. It should only take you a couple seconds. So benefits and drawbacks of dollarization. So pros, cons of changing to the dollar. Okay, sure. The end of the Bretton Woods system, the finish to this specific type of economic method, benefits and examples of dollarization, the advantages and instances of changing money into the dollar. A currency loses its value spectacularly, so some kind of money becomes completely worthless in an amazing way. Transition to fiat currencies, so change to the fiat method of payment, okay, which we're using today. Sorry, I made that mistake earlier. We changed from the gold standard to the fiat. Dollarization, American and Australian dollars, so using the dollar, either the American or the Australian. Should countries dollarize? Is it a good idea to change to using the dollar? It depends, so different variables. Defining the topic, explaining the idea, lowering inflation and spurring investment, decreasing the loss of value and increasing monetary movement. Lacking confidence is a problem. Not having faith is a negative. So that's kind of how you should paraphrase. Doesn't have to be perfect, just in your head as best as you can. Okay, as best as you can. Go through them and try to think about what these are. Okay, know the different kinds of paraphrasing techniques like synonyms, antonyms, descriptive, expressive. Okay, so that's what you want to do for list of headings. So step 1 is to paraphrase. All right. Then step 2 is to read each paragraph and figure out what it's about. But before we do that, let's look at the other questions here. So I'd like to get to some of the other questions in today's reading for sure. So let's have a look at them. Okay, so here's one of our favorites. These continue to be a part of IELTS for sure. The true, false, not given. True, false, not given. Tip number 1, don't read these before the passage because they contain false and not given information. So you can't scan for those. They confuse you. Just leave it until you finished reading. And then we have question 13, which is multiple choice. Multiple choice, all we do is read the question, not the choices. So all we do is just read this statement or question. Which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of reading passage 3? Do you think you could skim and scan for this answer? So do you think you can skim read to answer question 13? Which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of reading passage 3? If you're thinking nope, then you're right. Okay. In order to answer this kind of a question, you definitely have to read the passage. Okay, because the answer for this comes from understanding the whole passage. Here's an interesting tip, students. Remember, over the past few years, if you've seen our videos, I've always said skimming and scanning doesn't work. Well, I have worse news for you today. The new versions of IELTS coming out this year, they're even more foolproof for skimming and scanning. Okay, so keep that in mind. So IELTS exams from the end of 2019 are designed even more effectively to keep people or keep candidates from getting good scores in the reading by just skimming and scanning for answers. The expert exam makers are using even more advanced question and exam engineering methods to negate skimming and scanning. Okay, so I think that's probably in some ways bad news for people that really were depending or hoping to do some skimming and scanning, but it's probably good news for other students who are like, yeah, forget about skimming and scanning, I just need to read. Okay, so yeah, they are, Dr. Krishna, yeah, that's right. So, and some students have noticed that, they're like, whoa, my reading score is so low, and it's because they're skimming and scanning. Okay, so yes, they are, Dr. Krishna. The latest exams are using these newer methods. Okay, all right, and you'll notice those, so you'll see those. If some of you are doing the Cambridge past papers from the 14th book, and the 15th book is coming out this August, you'll notice that skimming and scanning really doesn't work for those for the reading section. Okay, so that important and interesting note aside, let's go back and now answer our list of headings questions and do some reading. So exciting. It's exciting for me as well, students, because it's a new passage, new for me as well. It's honestly not the first time for me to read it. It's the second time. I have reviewed it once, but I've definitely had a lot less experience with it than with the other exams in our course. So, students, this is reading. Make sure to read with me, okay? Practice aloud reading if you can. Aloud reading means hearing your voice, okay? So, aloud reading, okay? All right. So read. All right. So there we go. Dr. Krishna is seconding my opinion. Dr. Krishna says, yeah, I realized that. So I joined your class. Okay. So for list of headings, what you want to do is after you did your review of the questions, the other questions, then step 2 for list of headings is read each paragraph, ask and answer what is this paragraph about? Then find the closest match from the choices. Okay, let's do that. So I'll show you. When you practice a bit, it'll make a lot of sense. All right, here we go. So read with me. Currency substitution, also known as dollarization, occurs when a country uses another country's currency in place of its own. In partial currency substitution, a country will use another currency alongside its own, while in full dollarization, the country uses only the other currency. Though the phenomenon is sometimes referred to as dollarization, in reference to the United States dollar, the target currency can be any country's currency. Countries around the world have also dollarized with the euro, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, South African rand, and the Swiss franc. While there are many benefits to dollarization, there are also significant drawbacks as well. So, what is this paragraph about? Okay, so you want to ask, what is the introduction about? Okay. So Rajam Manikam, what a great name, says it's an overview about dollarization. I agree. Okay? That's the main point of this. So Boomy says it's the definition of dollarization and a thesis. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and a thesis. Very good, Boomy. Very good. I love how many of you are picking up these types of reading, active reading strategies. So what Boomy is saying is the thesis is here. While there are many benefits to dollarization, there are also significant drawbacks as well. So Boomy's saying, hey, girls and guys, look out. That's the thesis. That means this essay will talk about the benefits first, and then we'll talk about the negatives. Okay, very good. All right, so let's see what the closest match is to that. Okay, so the definition and the thesis. Which one is the closest? Which one of these choices is closest to the definition of dollarization? Really well done, Boomy, and you should get it correct. Which Roman numeral is the right answer? And keep it simple. Find the closest match, okay? Which one is it? Turk Berry says it's the introduction to the concept of dollarization. And Turk, that's also good. Charlie says, I think it's going to be number 9. Abhishek agrees. It looks like everybody's in agreement. And I'm so proud of all of you. You're bringing tears to my eyes. When these live streams get a little bit higher definition, you'll see me tearing up in these kinds of moments. I'm so proud of all of you. Yes, it's the correct answer. Okay, defining the topic. All right. I think if somebody's skimming and scanning, they might accidentally choose benefits and drawbacks, but that's just the thesis, right? The main idea of this paragraph is defining the topic, which is defining dollarization. Okay, it's a descriptive paraphrase. So I'm really happy that nobody chose number 2. Good for you. Okay, good for you. I'm very proud of you. So the correct answer is IX. Excellent. Let's keep going. Here we go with the second paragraph. All right, body paragraphs. Here we go. The story of currency substitution begins with the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which established the rules for financial relations between major nations during and following the Second World War. The agreement, which was based on the convertibility of the US dollar to gold, collapsed in 1971 when the United States unilaterally terminated the relationship between its currency and gold. During the intervening years, currencies were tied to the price of gold and therefore to each other. After 1971, currencies previously tied to the value of gold became fiat currencies, currencies which ceased being valuable in relation to something external, gold, and relied on public confidence in order to retain value. This is the origin of the need for currency substitution in certain cases. Okay, so again, we're going to ask, what is this paragraph about? What is body paragraph 1 about? What would you say? So again, you want to be as simple and concise as possible while including the key idea or the key answer here. So what would you say this paragraph is about? Ayana says history. It's maybe a little bit too simple. Nazir says the history of currency substitution. Not bad, Nazir. I might say the origin. What is that? Rajan Manikam says the evolution of dollarization. Charlie says it's the Bretton Woods policy. Okay, so you're getting some different answers. All right, when you get different answers, do this, students. Okay, so here you go. Here's another nice tip for you. Okay, let me give you a good tip here. Okay, when you are uncertain about what the paragraph is about, especially for body paragraphs, okay? Reread the first 2 sentences, okay? Only, all right? Usually, the first 2 sentences will contain the topic, right? What it's about, okay? So let's have a peek here. The story of currency substitution begins with the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which established the rules for financial relations between major nations during and following the Second World War. The agreement, which was based on the convertibility of the US dollar to gold, collapsed in 1971 when the United States unilaterally terminated the relationship between its currency and gold. Okay, so that's the first 2 sentences. It's half the paragraph, I know, but that's it right there. So, do you want to try again? Hina says it's the end of the period of the Bretton Woods system. Yes, Hina, I think that's more accurate. And I would say something similar. So it's the end of an old type of currency system of value, changing it to the new. Okay, so that's what I would say. So let's take a look now and see if we can find the right answer. So it's the end of an old system, changing it to the new system, right? So which one of these do you think is the best answer? So the end of an old system changing to a new system, because the Americans said, hey, we're no longer tied to gold, we have a new system in place. Okay? So Abhishek says it's 3, Charlie says it's 3, Hina says it's 3, Janelle says it's 3. There's a lot of 3s. Be really careful, students. You have the wrong answer. It's not 3. Try again. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Somebody got the right answer. Very good. Nazir, hats off. You get the thumbs up today. Ayana, very good. Yeah, don't be too quick, students, to choose your answer. It's the transition to fiat currencies, right? Transition is a very important word here because it means the end of one and beginning of another. Okay, so this one here, students, is only half. It's only half the answer. Okay, this one here is the full answer. Okay, so this one is the full answer. This is only half the answer. So this is the better answer. Okay, so be very, very attentive. All right. Okay, hope that makes sense. Careful, careful. So ways that list of headings trick you is watch for half the answer versus the full answer, like I just showed you, and also watch for examples and explanations versus the what answer. Okay, so that was the half answer there. All right, so for B, you would put in 6, transition to the fiat system, and you get it right. Okay, let's go to C. Let's keep going. Again, practice makes perfect. Once you do these a few times, guarantee you'll be doing really well. Okay, here we go. Read with me, read aloud. Let's move along. When you think about it, the paper that money is printed on is worthless. It cannot be converted into gold, and it is not guaranteed to be converted into anything other than the banknote's denomination. This is the result of the end of the Bretton Woods system. While many countries have succeeded financially and monetarily since 1971, others have not. For example, because fiat currency relies on the confidence of the people being issued the currency, when people lose confidence in the currency, disaster is at hand. This was the case for Zimbabwe from 2007 to 2009 and beyond. The people of Zimbabwe lost confidence in their fiat currency, and its value bottomed out in spectacular fashion. People are generally accustomed to single-digit inflation, the loss in value of a currency. But Zimbabwe's inflation was off the charts, 80 billion PC in a single month. At the peak of Zimbabwe's problem, 1 billion Zimbabwean dollars were reduced in value to a single dollar in just 1 month. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? In your opinion, what is this paragraph about? Okay, so how would you answer this in a simple, concise way? Okay, always think of your answer first, then choose the matching answer. That will give you the best chance at choosing the correct answer. So what is this about? Okay. So what is this paragraph about? You can see that in the first part, it explains the concept of the fiat currency. And then it explains that there's a huge negative to the fiat currency, which relies on the confidence of the people. And then it gives you an example of the Zimbabwean dollar where people don't have confidence in the money. So how do I explain that in one idea? Okay, so Rajveer says it's the fiat currency and losing its value. Okay, Hina says the worthlessness of printed currency in the fiat system. Okay, good. All right, those are some good answers, right? With an example, right? So let's see which of these. So it's definitely a negative, some kind of a negative here. So which one of these shows the negative and the example together? Because this paragraph talks a lot about the Zimbabwean dollar, the loss of money, and the loss of value. So where do you see the closest match here? Okay. Jainil says, well, a currency loses its value spectacularly. Specifically, in this case, the Zimbabwean dollar, right? So this is a currency. It doesn't say Zimbabwean dollar, right? But it can be. So it's a very good choice, Jainil. And Rajveer agrees. That's the closest match. Yeah. So number 5, a currency loses its value spectacularly. So the fiat currency can lose its value spectacularly, just like the Zimbabwean dollar. So 5 is the best answer. Okay. 5 is the best answer. Lacking confidence is a problem. Is not a, so Alves is like, well, maybe it's that one. Lacking confidence is a problem. But that's too general. Okay. Alves, it doesn't necessarily relate to the money. Okay. So a better choice here would be a currency loses its value spectacularly. Lacking confidence is a problem in the fiat system, would make sense. Okay. But it's unfinished. So it's not a clear title for this paragraph. It's kind of a tricky one, as I'll give that to you. Okay, all right, let's keep going. So, D, here we go. Again, don't overcomplicate the answer. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. All right, read with me. For Zimbabwe, the choice to dollarize was clear. They gave up their own currency, which its own people had decided was worthless, in favor of the US dollar, which the people had confidence in. This configuration lasted for a decade until 2019, when the new president, Emerson Mnangagwa, decided it was worth trying a national currency again. This currency, as of March 2020, is also failing, seeing inflation rates of 500%. While short of the catastrophic rates previously seen, it is enough to highlight the manifest difficulty in managing a currency without the confidence of the people. All right. What is this paragraph about? Alvas, I think here's your chance to shine. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? And I'm going to show you something interesting with these list of headings questions here as well. So what do you think this paragraph is trying to tell readers about the dollarization of money? Rajveer says it's the demerits of Zimbabwe's currency. Rajveer, not bad, but what is that? So what is the demerit? So name it. Name the demerit. And you're going to be very close to the exact topic sentence here, or topic idea of what this is about. So what is the demerit? Boomy, you're right, it's a failed currency, but why is it failing? Charlie, you're right, so it's inflation again, right? It failed, then came the dollar, then came the Zimbabwe, and it failed again. It's kind of about dollarization, but what's the information here? Nazir says it's the benefits and drawbacks of dollarization. I don't think so, Nazir. I don't see that there. You should see. So I'm waiting for Alves here to give us a hand, because I think you'll get this. Okay. Dr. Krishna says inflation. So what is inflation? Why is it happening, Dr. Krishna? It's clearly in here. Okay. You'll see the word repeat a couple of times. This is where paying attention to some word repetition is important. Okay, Ayana says the citizens have the last call. So the citizens decide the value of their money, right, Ayana? How? How do the citizens decide the value of their money, Ayana? It says it here. Ah, there we go. Rajan Manikam says it's the lack of confidence, right? Okay. Okay, Jainil, very good. So Jainil says failed currency and less confidence of the Zimbabwe public. Very good, Ayana. Lack of trust by the citizens. So now you're on the right track. Michael Fan says lack of confidence of the people. Yeah, and you can see that, right? Because in favor of the US dollar, which the people had confidence in. Okay. And then you see it here again. Managing without the confidence of the public. So you see it there again, right? So careful, watch for that repetitive idea. Clearly, it's emphasizing that point here. So what's the right answer? What's the right answer? What do you think is the correct answer now that you see that? And again, visualization. Don't forget the tool of visualization, students. So you're saying XI, lacking confidence is a problem. Yeah, exactly. So lacking confidence in money is a problem for the country. So now XI would be the right one. Okay, so notice here, students, something interesting. And I want to emphasize this at this point. So C talks about the Zimbabwe dollar failing magnificently, okay, so going into 80 billion pieces. So let's say that Alves, you go, all right, well, I picked lack of confidence, or confidence is a problem for this one. And then you're reading D, and you realize, wait a second, this one seems to be even more important for lacking confidence. In this case, so I usually tell students, don't ever change your answers, but in the list of headings, if you read the next paragraph and you realize that that heading is a better match for this one, then you have to realize that something is wrong here. Do you understand what I mean by that? So if you read the next paragraph and you ask, what is this paragraph about? And you realize, well, it's definitely here. It's something about confidence, because I even see the word repeat itself. So confidence must be for this one, number 11, Roman XI. Then this one has to be a different answer. And then hopefully you come to realize that, oh yeah, number 5 is better for this one, and number 11 is better for this one. Okay, so don't be so fixed on your answers that you can't make that change in these list of headings. Okay, all right, let's keep going. So here we go with paragraph E. Okay, again, read with me. Clearly, one of the benefits of currency substitution is the confidence given to the country's people in their monetary system, which gives great economic and social benefits. For countries with citizenry that lacks confidence in the nation's currency, dollarization is a very positive alternative. In addition to Zimbabwe, countries that fall into this category are El Salvador, Ecuador for the US dollar. Dollarization is also a preferable alternative to a national currency in the case of small nations with lack of governmental infrastructure to administer a national currency. Countries in this situation include Palau and Timor-Leste, US dollar, Kiribati, Nauru, and Tuvalu, Australian dollar, Andorra and Kosovo, euro, and Liechtenstein, Swiss franc. Okay, what is this paragraph about? It's going to be a little bit easier, I think. So what is this paragraph about? I think it's quite clear here in the beginning. Give me your answer. What do you think it's about? Abhishek says dollarization as an alternative currency. I think that's half of the answer, Abhishek. There's a little bit more there. Yeah, very good, Bhumi. So Bhumi says it's the advantages of dollarization. Yeah. The benefits of currency substitution. Benefits of currency substitution. It's boom, very clear. And then it gives an explanation and an example. So here we see that very clear topic sentence explanation example structure that you should use in your task 2, which we'll talk about in the next lesson. So currency substitution's benefits. Which one of these is the closest match? I think you'll get this very quickly. Okay, so it's very clear. You don't see the exact same words, but you'll get this very quickly. Okay? Nice, Bhumi. Nice, Charlie. Yeah, so benefits and examples of dollarization. Absolutely. Yeah, very, very clear on this one, right? Yeah. So not all of these list of headings are terribly difficult. Some of them will be easier. All right. So let's go to the next paragraph, F. Here we go. Let's move along. All right. While currency, read with me again. So while currency substitution can create consistency through lower inflation and spur investment through a more stable financial environment, it also has drawbacks. For example, countries who officially use foreign currency cannot control their monetary policy and therefore have less control over their economies. For example, when the United Kingdom wants to lower their base interest rate in order to achieve a particular economic outcome, they can do this. So can other countries with national currencies. Conversely, countries using foreign currencies are at the mercy of foreign economic forces. For instance, the United States does not take into account Zimbabwe or Ecuador's interests when managing the United States dollar. This can result in conflicting economic interests and damage to the foreign currency's user. The other main negative associated with not printing money is that the country cannot take advantage of what is called seigneurage, the profit a country makes by printing its own currency. This is why Zimbabwe, even after the debacle of the late 2000s, attempted one more time to print their own money 10 years later. Printing money literally makes money for the printer. And we actually saw that during the COVID crisis in the United States and in Canada, where both countries printed a lot of money. So what is this paragraph about? What is this paragraph about? Paragraph F. Keep it simple. A lot of information there, but you want to just keep it really simple. So what is paragraph F about? So Bhumi says it's the negatives of currency, not quite negatives of currency, Bhumi, but negatives of dollarization. Michael Fan says the drawbacks of dollarization or the disadvantages. And some positives. It starts positive, right? So currency substitution can create consistency through lower inflation and spur investment. So there's some positives there as well, but most of it are the negatives. Let's see what is the closest match. So a little bit about the positive and more about the negatives. Okay, so the negatives are definitely 90% of this paragraph. What do you think is the closest? Oh, I like Alvez's answer here. Alves says the limitations. Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky one. Yeah, this one might get some people for sure. Alves, which one do you think it is? So the emphasis is limitations. So I would say limitations is the best answer. Yeah, limitations is the best answer. Because most of the paragraph talks about what countries that use foreign currency cannot do, right? So if you summarize this paragraph really well, it's about what countries cannot do when they use another country's money, right? So limitations of dollarization is a more accurate what than benefits and drawbacks of dollarization. It's again a little bit tricky, but this is more accurate. Okay. All right. Yeah, Michael Fan says 1 is greater than 2 in this case, and that's a good way to put it. Okay, one more paragraph. Let's finish these list of headings. Paragraph G. So this is the conclusion. Read with me. So overall, whether a country should have its own currency depends on the social and economic position of the individual country. National currencies require the confidence of the people, and if this is lacking, no level of seigneurage will make up for the inflation that results. But for countries like the United States, a national currency is profitable and also part of its identity. Okay, that's it. So, what is this paragraph about? What is it about? Yeah, it is, Dr. Krishna, judgment call. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the last minute here. Okay. So, what is this one about? One more time. Overall, whether a country should have its own currency depends on the social and economic position of the individual country. National currencies require the confidence of people, and if this is lacking, no level of seigneurage, I can't pronounce that, will make up for the inflation that results. But for countries like United States, a national currency is profitable and also part of its identity. Okay, I think this is a French word. It means printing of money. Okay, so what is this one about? It's the conclusion, obviously. So Bhumi says its currency depends on a country's social and economic situation, right? Finish the idea, Bhumi. So currency depends on the social and economic situation of each country. Okay? All right. Abhishek says it's the confidence in their own currencies. Let's have a look and see which one matches closest to that thought. Okay, so which one is, it depends on their social and, Rajveer says, number 8, should countries dollarize? It depends. Depends on what? Social and economic situation, right? Michael Fan agrees. Very good. Nice logic, okay? And that's the right answer. So should countries dollarize? It depends. That's the right one. Yeah, very good, Turk. So Turk, if you use the word depends, then definitely choose that one. Nice finish, everyone. Conclusions can be very, very challenging for this, okay? All right, so one last tip, students. Pay attention to choosing the best answer, not just the right answer, okay? So that's my last tip for these list of headings. For list of headings questions, you must choose the best answer and not just the right answer, or a right answer, I should say. Okay, and again, this is one of the other ways that skimming and scanning is being controlled on the IELTS exam, is that they're including more of these kinds of situations in the IELTS. TOEFL is like this, by the way, if some of you are planning to do TOEFL, where you can have multiple correct answers, but one best answer. And that's definitely making it more challenging, but as the world becomes more competitive, more people are using English, universities are more competitive, it's the nature of the beast. It's becoming more difficult to get those higher band scores in IELTS as well. All right, students, keep it up. Logic, critical thinking will see you through. You're all brilliant minds. Keep that always in your forethoughts. Here are the true, false, not given questions. If you'd like to try that on your own, send it to me by email and I'll let you know what the correct answers are. Okay, so I'm keeping it up here for a moment, and you can watch the video near the end and answer these questions. I'll send you the answer key. And here is the final multiple choice question. Try that on your own. Send that to my email and I'll let you know what the correct answers are for those. Thank you so much for joining me on this fun and exciting class with a brand new reading passage. For everybody who's watching, to get all of our materials, aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general. You're very welcome, Bhumi. Welcome, Dr. Krishna. I'm sure that, so Dr. Krishna, the exams are being canceled here and there, but they are now starting to commence. So third time lucky for a lot of students from what I've heard, so keep it up. Hopefully I will see all of you in 30 minutes for task 2 writing. Bye for now, everyone.